Hi, Islamic Dad here. I'm going to do a series of videos on my divorce with the Malignant Narcissist. This is a video that I was asked if I could make. I try to make it a point that if people ask questions in the comments that I answer them, and if there's a request for videos on a specific subject, I try my best to make that video for them. I made a video on this topic earlier today, and it ended up being almost an hour long. That's way too long, and so I've decided to break this up into 3 sections. The first, my experience before the divorce separation, during the divorce separation, and post-divorce, and kind of the divorce itself. So starting off with the, kind of the context and experience beforehand. Again, my experience is very different than pretty much 90% of the people out there with my malignant narcissist. She was not a narcissist when we met. She was not a narcissist when we dated. She was not a narcissist when we were engaged. She was not a narcissist through the first 18 years of marriage. When she turned 40, that fact hit her. In addition, she had lost 2 people very close to her in her family. And so it shook her faith to the core, and it also shook her idea of security and any type of being able to count on people being there the next day, the next week, the next month. All of this together, combined with the usual issues of, the turning 40, say, typical midlife crisis situation where they're hit with the realization they're not getting younger. They are hit with the realization that the life that they're in is probably what they're going to continue to experience. For my wife at the time, she didn't like the idea that she was this, the typical mother of 2 children with a dog, a cat, living in a nice house in the suburbs, and that she was a wife to a husband with, a good stable job. They had health insurance. Everything was secure and provided for, which to me sounds like heaven, but to her, it hit her. I mean, she still had some unresolved issues, dating back to when she was say 19, 20 years old, 21. And so she went to bed one night. My wife, the mother of our kids, same person that I married. The next day she woke up and she was someone else. And this someone else was horrible. They were a malignant narcissist. That was kind of the new persona that she created. And also that emotionally, mentally, to some extent, she was the 19-year-old again. She wanted to party. She wanted to do drugs. She wanted to be a wild child. And basically, everything she felt she couldn't do in the confines of, your typical nuclear family living in the suburbs, that's who, she wanted to be. And so, combined with these desires as far as the life she wanted to lead was also the malignant narcissist. To kind of just, hopefully, quickly explain that flavor of narcissism, at least I can speak from my experience. The malignant narcissist, they are not obsessed with grandiosity. So the overt narcissist, your most common kind, they're driven by a sense of superiority. They want to be admired. They want people to be envious of them. They want to be the center of attention, the life of the party, larger than life, etc., etc. The malignant narcissist is obsessed with, their narcissistic supply is not, this like admiration or external validation to feed their ego. It is power, feelings of power through conflict. And so it would be to, what we call now troll people, to bait them. And, if you took the bait and you started arguing with them, they won. That was it. And they, for instance, my wife at the time might say something really inflammatory. And if I hopped in, that might be a 3-hour argument. She would have infinite energy, infinite time to focus on the argument. Basically, it was a war of attrition. I mean, I would just be worn out to where I would just walk away. I just leave. I couldn't do it any longer. And in her mind, not only did she win, but I lost, which was more important, and also it was invigorating for her. Whereas like a 3-hour argument is very draining for me. For her, it's like Gatorade mixed with B vitamins and maybe some caffeine. I mean, it was great for her. And so that was kind of the stage that was set in the marriage, to where I was now married to a complete stranger who was a horrible person, who always wanted to argue, who would stonewall, who would lie, who would always want to be going out partying, the type of stupid things like she started vaping, not your typical vape stuff. It was straight THC. That was her vape cartridge, and she would just vape straight THC in the house. And I would confront her and say, look, you can't do that. We have 2 kids. That's not okay. And of course it became, you're invading my privacy. You're not my dad. The kids can't smell it. It's not my vape. It's my friend's. I just tried it. I don't like it. I already quit. Et cetera, et cetera. Just the typical narcissist word salad, deflecting, turning things back around, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And, she didn't quit or anything. If anything, she just kept on going as if I never had that conversation with her. And it was also, at least for me in that situation, it was also disturbing to see how she changed as a mother to our children, to where, again, like, I don't know if this is something that is typical for other malignant narcissists. It wouldn't surprise me though. Whereas before, she was very, accommodating, not a pushover, but someone who valued meeting in the middle, compromise, and if possible, win-win solutions. She wanted to be happy. She wanted me to be happy. She wanted the kids to be happy. And for the past 18 years, that wasn't an issue. But then after she went full, malignant narcissist mode, she became extremely authoritarian. It was very, very strange. And so with the, I would, she didn't have much luck with me, but with the kids, they're like, okay, my mom is telling me to do this. I need to do it. And so, but the way, my wife would interact with the children completely changed, and it became, she was no longer like this mother, having conversations with her children and stuff, she was a dictator. And you could tell that, like, when she would start barking orders at the children, say there was some stuff, in the living room, nothing crazy. I mean, a little bit of a mess, like, maybe the backpack from school, maybe a plate left out from some snacks. That's it, nothing big. And my wife at the time would be, barking orders at the kids, practically, shouting, yelling at them. And then when the kids would like rush and clean it up and do something like that, she kind of would get this glow in her face. Like she was just enjoying the power trip that she felt in being able to boss around the kids and bark these orders and have them obeyed, quickly and subserviently. And again, it was very, very strange considering how good of a mother and how loving she was and how caring the previous 18 years. And so that was bad. Then, the secrets started with her, the living a double life, the lies, the change in how she dressed. At that time, she became obsessed with her weight, basically starving herself. Just, forget dieting. I'm just going to starve myself. And then just spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars on makeup. And again, like, I know some women that's normal for them, and that's fine. It's not, I'm not making any type of judgment. What the point I'm trying to make is that before, she didn't really spend any money on makeup. She might have had like some lipstick that she got at Target or something like that, and that would be it. And now she was going to all of the best makeup stores in the city and spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars every paycheck to buy makeup. And then she would doll herself up. And I hate to say this. No, actually, I love to say this. She looked like a clown. If you see those old photos or videos of Tammy Faye Baker, that is what she looked like. Apparently, she never learned how to actually put on makeup. And again, now I think about it, it's very funny because it's kind of like, okay, if you had a teenage girl who was just clueless about makeup but very excited about it, and she was putting it on and she ended up looking like a clown, well, it was because she was still new to wearing makeup and learning. And maybe like even there was some of that with my ex-wife going on, where because she had like basically regressed to being 19 again, that like maybe that impacted how she applied makeup. I mean, I don't know. I'm just trying to connect dots here. But anyway, so she would be leaving all the time at like 9-10 o'clock at night in the middle of the week, even though she was working in the morning. And so she would get all makeuped up, wearing some crazy outfit. And it happened enough where it, was obviously raising red flags with me. And I said, hey, where are you going? And she would say, I'm just going to my friend's house. And I would say, well, you spent an hour in the bathroom applying makeup just to go to your friend Linda's house at 10 o'clock at night. And she would blurt out something like, well, it's not like I'm going on a date with some guy. And that's one of the things. I wish I was lying. I wish I was exaggerating. I don't know what it is about, like, sometimes, narcissists in that position where they will blurt out exactly what they're doing and say like, oh, I'm not doing that. And the reason is my ex-girlfriend, the covert narcissist, she used to do that too. Spooky how all the narcissists read from the same playbook. So that was kind of the setting pre-separation and pre-divorce process. So hopefully this video has been helpful. This will be part 1 of 3, and I'll continue on with making these videos. Hopefully this has been helpful to the person who made the request originally.